Hey everyone, let's do a quick review on factoring linear expressions just so that you'll be ready for class on Monday. So let's start with our first example from our notes, 3x plus 9. The first thing I want you to do is factor the two numbers in the expression. So we're going to factor the 3 and then we're going to factor the 9. So 3 is a prime number. That can't be broken down anymore. But this is multiplying 3 times x. So we're going to break this up 3 times x. Okay. And then we're going to factor the 9. You need to think, what times what gives me 9? Yeah, 3 times 3. That's it. 3 times 3. Okay. The second step I want you to do is circle what they have in common and bring it down. So I have a 3 and I have a 3. They have a 3 in common. Remember, we only bring one down. Do not bring them both. One. Because basically I'm saying they have a 3 in common. Now, I'm going to look at what's left. I'm going to look at what's left on this side of the plus sign. I'm going to look at what's left on this side of the plus sign. And I'm going to bring it down and put it inside the parentheses. So, over here, I have an x left. My original operation was addition, so I'm going to add. And over here, I have a 3 left. So this is factored 3 times the quantity of x plus 3. Now, if you wanted to check yourself to make sure you were right, you could distribute the 3 out. Again, do the distributive property. 3 times x is 3. 3 times 3 is 9. 3x plus 9. 3x plus 9. It's all good. Let's do another example. Let's do 12x plus 7y. The first thing you do is factor out the two numbers. I'll just do 6 times 2. I should have asked you. Sorry about that. 6 times 2. Okay, so let's break it down even more because I want to get down to just prime numbers. What times what gives me 6? 2 times 3. I like to bring all of my factors down on the same level because it just goes back into keeping neat and organized and making sure I don't miss something just because it's jumbled all over my paper. Math is about rules and patterns. It's about order. So I want to stay in order. 7y is just 7 times y. The second step is to circle what they have in common. 2 is not in common. 3 is not in common. And the x is not in common. So I can't factor this. So my answer for this is can't be factored. Because there's nothing in common. There's the D. Okay? Another example. Let's do 4x minus 28. Okay, once again, we're going to follow the same pattern. The first step is to factor out the 4 and the 28, and we're going to go down, keeping every last number on the same level, and we're going to factor it down until we get down into prime numbers. What times what gives me 4? 2 times 2. I'm going to bring my x down so I have it on the same level. All right, so let's do the same thing to 28. What times what gives me 28? Let's do 2 times 14. Okay. 14 is not a prime number, so let's break that down even more. What times what gives me 14? 2 times 7. I'm going to bring this 2 down so I can keep them on the same level. So my second step is circle what they have in common. Well, they both have a 2. And I bring one of them down. 1. They have another 2. I'm going to bring that down. Now that's all they have in common. I have have to multiply these together. I can't just leave it as 2 times 2. So 2 times 2 is actually 4, okay? I'm going to erase that, and I'm going to put a 4. Whatever is left that they don't have in common, I put inside the parentheses. This has an X. I'm going to cross that off just so I know I've done something with it. And this has a 7, and we're doing subtraction. So subtraction sign goes in the middle. One more example? Okay. Our last example, 5x plus 20xy. Okay, let's go. Our first step is to factor out both of the numbers. 5 is a prime number, so that's easy. So this ends up being 5 times x. 20, what multiplies together to make 20? 4 times 5, we'll do that. Times x times y. I want to always bring those down. Okay. What times what makes 4 because that's not a prime number? Yep, 2 times 2. Remember, I like to bring everything down on the same level. Just helps me to keep track of everything. Next step, circle what they have in common. 5. And an x. I only bring 1 down. 1 5, 1 x. And just like with the other examples, whatever's left over goes in the parentheses. So so here's where it gets interesting. I have nothing left over here, right? But I can't just put nothing down here. So because 5 is a prime number, its factors are 5 times 1, right? So I'm just going to put a 1 down here. Because if I were to do the distributive property, 5x times 1 still gives me 5x. All right, so 5x. And then over here, I'm left with 2 times 2, which is 4, and I'm left with a y. And my addition sign stays because it was addition on the top. Good luck with your homework. Have a great weekend.